Let's talk about guilt trips. How good are narcissists at guilt trips? I don't know about you, but as I was going through my own narcissistic abuse, I found myself on so many guilt trips that I probably should have had a passport full of stamps. If you're in the same boat, this video is for you. So let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll get going. Chances are if you've been with a narcissist, you've been on a guilt trip or two, right? In case you don't know what I'm talking about, that's when someone tries to make you feel bad for something you did or didn't do. And very often it's something that you shouldn't feel guilty about. With a narcissist, it can be something as small as eating something they left in the fridge and thought they would have later, even if it belonged to you. It's all about controlling your behavior. It's a clear form of psychological manipulation and just one more way that narcissists try to maintain control over their victims. Now, maybe some guilt trips are a little harmless and they're things like parents do to keep their kids in control. Like if your mother made soup and then you didn't like the soup and she said, why wouldn't you eat my soup? I slaved over a hot stove all day. Or if your cousin was getting married and you couldn't make it to the wedding, then your grandma might say, well, that's fine. I guess your family doesn't really matter to you anyway, huh? Things like that. Now, that's annoying and it feels yucky, but it's not really that big of a deal unless it's a regular occurrence. A lot of toxic families use guilt trips to get what they want from the people in the family. They often succeed, but as we know, there's a price to pay for a guilt trip as a family member who's going through that. But when we're talking about a narcissist, they are relentless with it, and very often they use guilt trips to control every single thing you do, say, feel, and think. It's exhausting. Some people will tell you that guilt trips are harmless, and they can be harmless depending on how they're being doled out, right? But what they do is they create resentment in relationships. And when resentment is involved on either side, it's negative. It's toxic, and it can build increasing stress and tension in any relationship, healthy or otherwise. So there are certain things you can do to limit your guilt trip compliance, right? So let's talk about that. With someone who isn't a narcissist, you can take simple steps, like explain to them that you want to do what they want you to do, or you would like to, but you can't for whatever reason, and then explain to them that when they use the guilt trip tactic against you, it makes you feel resentful. You could ask them nicely to explain their wishes more clearly, and then you can give them a respectful answer. And you will need to probably remind them as time goes on to communicate with you differently, because people who do this have been doing it most of their lives in many cases, and or they were taught by a parent to do it. It's a learned and habitual type of behavior. But when we're talking about narcissists, guess what the answer is? It's gray rock. You cannot fall for the guilt trip. If they see one chink in your armor, they're going to poke it until it busts open. And so instead of allowing them to control, manipulate, and attack you, well, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to not react or respond. And as always, let me just say, in the meantime, be working on your exit plan to get out of there. The question of the day, is, how do you deal with a guilt trip from a narcissist? How have you dealt with them in the past? Are you still dealing with them now? Have you dealt with them? Share your thoughts, your experiences, and your ideas in the comments below, and maybe help another survivor who's on the same path as you do a little bit better today. We're going to wrap up for today, but before I go, let me just remind you there are some cards above for you to look at some videos, and there's videos listed in the description below to help you further heal in your recovery and your life. All right, that's all I've got for you. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.
It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.